Dum da dum dum da dum dum da dum.
Huh.
Duh. We already have one person watching. Oh, it's Blue. Blue. Yo, Blue, why are you always on my shit? OMG SFB. No, I'm just kidding. I'm glad you're on my shit. You're always streaming. I love it. I am always streaming on the weekends, anyways. I don't stream during the
I
weekdays.
lost you for a second.
You did?
Sorry about that. Yeah, I don't know. So what happened? I have a little hiccup.
Oh. I like that you're a Roshatano.
Cute, right?
Yeah, it's super cute. It's super cute. Hello, audience. I'm joined by Son of Dennis today, Roshatano. We're gonna talk about. Oh, I didn't even do a fucking banner.
Oh my, yeah, spoilers.
Yeah, we gotta put that spoiler notice up. Okay, we're gonna do spoilers for. Oh, we lost Blue. It says 0 people are watching, but that's okay. We don't do this for people.
I thought you were gonna say a living. We don't do this for a living.
And also, we don't do this for a living. We don't. We actually don't do this for a living. Spoilers for what is it? Book of Boba Fett episodes 5 and 6, right? 5.
I'd love to cover both.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. We're doing both. We're doing both.
Because
I took screenshots for both, so we have to.
Oh, wonderful!
We have to
Awesome. Wonderful.
Don't be fooled by my water. This is a drinking night, a drinking podcast.
Yay!
So, yay! So
And
Evan,
yes.
yeah. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, you go.
No, I want to hear what you're gonna say.
Oh, well, I was gonna say I know you were drinking. You started out drinking some warm sake, right? And
Yeah.
so my question was, is it cold there? I heard Florida's a little chilly.
It's not cold here right now, and it's actually back to. Let me see what the. It's like 70 outside, 70 Fahrenheit.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you are still here. Oh, there's like 2 people watching. Oh, I don't know.
Oh, nice.
This like ticker thing, I don't think it's accurate. I don't think it tells me the correct amount of people watching. So, but I'm glad you're still here, Blue. Let us know what you thought of these 2 episodes of the Book of Boba Fett. So, Evan, you're caught up. When did you watch these?
Last week I watched episode 5.
And then you
I wanted to watch it again because it was so phenomenal.
So good.
And then I didn't get a chance to, and then I watched episode 6 last night, I think. I got kind of drunk. And I think it was last night. Yeah, it was last night.
I've watched the most recent one, episode 6, like 7 times.
Oh wow.
Yes, it's too much.
It's so good.
I can't get over it. I can't get over it. So okay, let me ask you. So you've been watching Book of Boba Fett. You've been vibing with it. Like, what do you think of like the last 2 episodes being like mainly like 99% Mandalorian? Like, what are your thoughts on that? Were you confused? How did you feel about it? Like,
I will say I was hoping they would stretch a lot of this out for. I was hoping they would kind of save the storyline they're going with the Darksaber and with everything like for a standalone Mandalorian season that would follow up Boba Fett fairly quickly, but it looks like now that's not going to happen. But boy, am I glad we got these episodes though. And it just kind of goes to show, like I was vibing with Boba Fett a lot, but like it just goes as soon as Mandalorian like sidles his way into screen, it's just like it's the Mando show. Like, I mean, boy, oh boy.
I mean,
I don't know.
I feel like Book of Boba Fett is its own thing, but I feel like it's not I'm not troubled or bothered by the Mandalorian having 2 episodes. I think we're gonna get like more Boba Fett than like I think it's gonna more than make up for it in the next. I don't even know how many episodes there are in this season.
I believe 2 more.
Like, 2 more. Okay, so that makes sense.
I'm thinking
8
of
episodes.
no, it might be 8 episodes as well, but I think Peacemaker's also. I just looked up Peacemaker as well to see how many episodes, so I might be confusing it with that.
Blue says I heard 8.
Okay,
8 episodes. So yeah, okay. Well, that's like kind of standard. I feel like I don't remember what Mandalorian season 1 and 2 were. They just 8 episode seasons? I don't remember.
Must have been.
Let me just look it up. I can look.
Yeah,
I can do this.
I feel silly that I don't know that.
It just to me that's like a good thing though, like that you don't know how many episodes like of a show went by because you're like not worried about that stuff. You know what I
I
mean?
almost
Like,
thought that was that was going to be the season cliffhanger. Like I had to look up and be like, wait, are there more episodes? Like,
yeah, I'm glad it's not like
because
this
oh,
season. That would
that would
blow.
be a
That's when
crazy.
I would complain. Probably like, why is it called the Book of Boba Fett? Like, I don't
Yeah.
mind like 2 episodes go. You know, like this is
So you
like
want more Boba Fett though?
I
Like,
definitely want like I'm hungry. I think that the fact that they like took Boba out for a second does two things. One, it makes you like go what the fuck, like why are we doing this? But you're pleased because Mandalorian, we're all Mandalorian fans, right? Like those of us who love the Mandalorian. But two, you're like something's up. We're gonna get a lot of Boba. I don't know, like you get hungry and like it's good. It's exciting.
yeah,
I like it.
I like that there were like I like when shows do that. Like Mythic Quest did that a lot. They had like standalone bottle episodes that were like episodes that took place in the past from ancillary characters that don't even have anything to do with, and they were genius episodes that like were these one-off bottle episodes. So I kind of like that. This is a little different. It's still in line with the serial what's going on. It does play into why Mando is able to show up on Tatooine again, and it does,
And
yeah.
8 episodes fits because season 1 and 2 of Mando are both 8 episode seasons, so
Yeah.
that makes sense. Yeah, and Peacemaker, we are gonna touch on Peace at the very end of the podcast. We're gonna talk about Peacemaker. By the way, we miss you, Kevin of Nine, but the show must go on. Like we don't want to be.
Or what is or Kevistan also for this?
Oh yeah, Kevin Santon.
Yeah.
Kevin Santon. PE's here. What? Yo.
Hey.
Nice to see you, PG. PE. Why did I say PG? Sorry about that. You're not PG. You're PE. But anyways, okay, great. So let's get into brass tacks, as they say. So I'm asking you to go back 1 week to episode 5. What was it called? A Stranger in a Strange Land? No, what was it called? Here, I gotta look it up. I'll look it up here. Mandalorian. No, sorry. Book of Boba Fett. Episode 5. Book of Boba Fett. Let's see. So episode 5 was called. Oh shit. Hold on.
So while you're looking it up, I'll say I called, or not called. I saw Brandon.
Brendan Wayne.
Wayne, yeah, and told him after I did the first episode, and I was like, hey, I did a show with the guys that you hopped on with the show. We did a discussion about Book of Boba Fett. He's like, oh, that's awesome. And he's like, yeah, I'm still catching up. And he's like, I just heard they played the Mando music on that when they ended the, and he was saying he talked to the Favreau and everybody, and he's like, why would you like tease that so much? Like, why would you tease that? And he was actually a little surprised that they played the Mando music at the end of that one episode to lead into episode 5, and he was a little like they should have had it kind of not.
Interesting.
Kind of nudge to that. He was of the team that they shouldn't have spoiled episode 5 like that.
I'm on the opposite team, although Brendan's pretty much royalty on this show, so like that's he can get the win on that. PE says this week's episode of the Book of Boba Fett was amazing. Watching it blew me away, and I've been thinking about it all week. Same here. Let's go ahead and start with in episode 5, we get it's called Return of the Mandalorian. So like that's the name. That's the title of episode 5. So we get the Return of the Mandalorian, and it's cool. He's like on this like ring world. Did you play Halo, Evan?
Yeah.
So did that like look just like the ring world? I've never played Halo, so I don't know. Like so like that ring world that they're on, like did that remind you of the Halo thing? That's what everyone's saying.
Yeah, I wasn't like a religious. I mean, I've played it, but I know what they're talking about. Yeah, that ring world was really neat.
So where we left off on the Mandalorian was Grogu went off with Luke, and then Mando had the Darksaber, and he was on that ship with Bo-Katan and everyone else. And apparently, what's his face? What was the name of the bad guy from Mando? I can't remember the character's name.
Gideon?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Gideon. Was it Gideon?
No. What am I saying? No, Gideon. No,
Moff Gideon. Yeah, no, it
Moff
is
Gideon.
Moff
Yeah.
Gideon. You're right. You're absolutely right. So Moff Gideon's there and he's laughing because he's like, ha ha ha, now you and Bo-Katan have to fight over the Darksaber. So we don't know what went down, but apparently Mando left that whole scenario with the Darksaber, and so we know that Moff Gideon from this episode is in the custody of the Rebel Alliance or the New Republic as it's probably known. And
Yeah.
we don't know what's up with Bo-Katan, but Mando has the Darksaber. Like we see that in this opening shot. Like
Yeah.
we
Did you catch that? I did not catch that he had it there. Now looking at the still frame, I'm like, oh, there it is.
No, I didn't catch it
the
until like the fight. I didn't take screenshots of the fight scene, but until the scene where he's like basically slaughtering the guys on
pit
this.
bulls.
Yeah, the what's that?
They're like pit bulls or like
Yeah, like
bulldogs
the dog dudes. I think they're called Clatoonians, if I'm not mistaken. I feel like I know. Audience, we've been drinking. Well, I've been drinking a little bit, so I don't know. I can't remember stuff at that. But
I can never remember stuff.
yeah, we have bad memory. We're old people. We don't have good memories. You'll have to help us out, PE and Blue, with our memories. But anyways, he fights those guys, and so we learned that he has the Darksaber. So the whole point of doing this bounty was so that he could find out how to get to the underground of this like platform or this place, so that he could go and find his coven or his like
Mandos.
his Mandos, right? And so he does it. He brings the head to, which is a cool scene, by the way. I don't know how they did it, but like he's walking through this place. It's all one continuous sharp shot. By the way, this episode was directed by Bryce Dallas Howard. She's awesome. Anyways, it's all one continuous shot. He goes up this like elevator thing, and he goes into this like club. He delivers the head, and then the shot follows him back to the thing. It goes back down, and then it's all in one shot. It was really, really beautifully done. But then he finds his Mandalorian coven with these like cool secret, glyphs or whatever. And he goes down into the underground, and he's injured himself because during the battle with the Clatoonians, he like sliced off a part of it, which by the way is something like, I don't know about you, but like have you ever had like one of those like toy lightsaber, like not the kitty ones but the good ones, like have you ever seen it? So I've like played with those, and I've like hit myself accidentally. I'm like, damn, if this shit was a real lightsaber, my arm would be gone, like, or whatever.
Yeah.
So
He's lucky he got, and especially with the Darksaber, like it's, we come to find out it really works against you. So at that time he's lucky he just got away with sort of a laceration on his thigh. Like he could have been way worse.
It was really gory too. But he gets down there, and we meet the Smith, the character who's kind of like the leader of this tribe or whatever of Mandalorians. And so she is really cool. I forget the actor's name. She's really cool, but she reminds me, for some reason I keep thinking it's Kate Blanchett underneath the mask. Her voice quality is very similar to Kate Blanchett. So I always imagine like Galadriel's under there forging shit. But anyway, so like they patch him up, and she's like, wow, you're like upgraded. You have this like spear and everything, and we find out like a cool bit of like we get a cool bit of Mandalorian lore, which is the armor. Thank you, PE. I love that PE is watching.
Good job.
So the armor is like, Beskar's not for weapons. It's because it could be used against Mandalorians. We only use it for armor. I didn't know. That's like a new tidbit, right? Like I feel like that's
sure,
like,
yeah, and it makes total sense. Like why you're weaponizing something that is essentially the only thing that can pierce. It's like
lightsabers can't even pierce Beskar. Yeah, it's like it's legit stuff. Yeah, so I like this whole thing. So this like spear that was being wielded by that like nasty bad guy, that boss last season with the Ahsoka episode, gets melted and then reforged into a nice little present for Grogu. Yeah. so she made, we don't know what it is yet, but we find out in the next episode what it is. But I had a guess. Did you know it was going to be like a little chainmail? Because remember the little rings Like that one part, it dropped the little rings and everything.
Of this
Like when
of like
she's
this
forging
scene.
whatever, yeah, like
Yeah.
you see little rings drop. So I figured it was gonna be chainmail, like it was gonna be like a vest of chainmail
I
or something
it
like that.
sounded they made the sound of it is something like I mean it was sort of it was I had a guess but I was like no it can't be that because it'd be like I just couldn't picture Grogu in a little like chainmail like medieval like it just I was a little underwhelmed that that was the gift. I thought like I don't know I thought it was gonna be like a cool
Like actual like
helmet.
armor, like pulmis, like
Yeah,
poultices and all that good stuff, or whatever they're called. Not poultices, but you know what I mean, like actual armor. No, I think chainmail's good. Like I feel like it's gonna protect him. Like it's gonna do its
if he
job.
wears it.
Like if he wears it. Well, yeah, if he does wear it, yeah, we'll find out. Anyways, we get like cool training scenes with the Mando, and like the armor basically like lets him know that the dark saber's different in the sense that it kind of feels you. Like it, there's like some kind of like mystical connection that occurs. So if you're not like one with it, like it will be heavy. It gets heavier and it's harder to wield and stuff like that. So we see a little bit of it about that, and then apparently the last Mandalorian, the forger, the guy who made the the dark saber, was a Jedi and a Mandalorian, so he was both, right?
Uh, yeah.
Tar
Trying to think
Vizsla, I
of it.
think. I think it was Tar Vizsla, if I'm not mistaken, was the name of the guy who the guy who like you know
Hmm.
brought Mandalore to its prominence or whatever. And so
Yeah, you get a
whoever,
good bit of history here.
yeah, you get a lot of like stuff. I feel like we learned a little bit of this stuff in other Star Wars stuff, but yeah, like for live action, this is the first time we're hearing about it, I guess. Um, so he's trying his best, but he hasn't mastered this dark saber yet. And then the descendant of Tar Vizsla, who is one of the Mandalorians that survive. Apparently, there's three, including I think Din Djarin. There's three Mandalorians that have survived from his initial like group or tribe, and we only see two of them, which is the armor and this guy, the descendant of Tar Vizsla. Anyways, he's like, whatever, you can't wield that shit. I'm gonna like totally challenge you to a duel because I think I can wield it. But Mando comes through and actually like, does a good job and like
Did,
defeats him. I thought that was really awesome.
yeah, I thought it was gonna be a little like it was a good back and forth, but it was a little one sided for a bit. Like he was almost bested pretty well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But he did hold his own because I mean that's a big dude right there. Um, he's a
Yeah, and I
big.
think if I'm not mistaken, that's John Favreau playing the guy.
Really?
I think, if I'm not
Like in
mistaken,
the
yeah.
suit or just the voice?
Or the voice, yeah, I think it's the voice. Maybe he's in the suit too. He's got kind of like John Favreau's build. I don't know, but yeah, definitely the voice is John Favreau, if I'm not
Huh.
mistaken. I'll have to look it up. I'm sorry, I don't know. I
Um,
might be making stuff up on that.
um,
But yeah, he actually bests him with his own like vibrating blade thing to the neck and stuff like that. So that was like a really cool moment. But then he's forced to admit that he did take off his helmet.
which was she? Did she know? Like, does she smell
I
that on
think
him? Like,
I think so. Like yeah, she's like super wise, Like I feel like that's definitely what happened.
I was a little that scene threw me off a little bit. Why I just out of nowhere she was just kind of like, okay, stop. Like she did she do that for his own good because she knew she felt that he wanted to be set free anyways to go on his because
I
he's
think
got other
she's
unfinished business or
I think she's dispassionate. Like I don't think she cares one way or another. She just wants to. She has to be the kind of leader. She's the kind of leader that like just follows the rules to the letter. And her and like these guys are like, you can't take off your fucking helmet ever. Like no matter what in front of
yeah.
anyone else. So like that they're just hardcore about that. And I remember like that being a big thing, like because we were all debating in season one, like what is this whole thing about taking off your helmet? Because we knew So we've never seen Boba Fett take off his helmet, which was the only other Mandalorian we'd seen in the live action Star Wars. But
Is
Bo
wait,
Katan and
is
all these
Boba Fett? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead, sorry.
No, it's dumb. I mean, was he? Wait, is it Boba Fett? Is he? He's a Mandalorian.
Yeah, because remember he says my father. So his father, Jango Fett, was a Mandalorian, or at least had rights to that Mandalorian armor. But I
Yeah,
think he
that's
was a
what.
Mandalorian.
Oh, I thought he had rights to it, and it was like like because he looked at his history, it was like imprinted in it, like when he checked and everything. But
Right, but
I
I
didn't
get
know
the
he was officially
impression
like
that
a
it was.
man.
I feel like Jango Fett was like a part of like an old Mandalorian family. Now, remember, there's like two. So, did you watch the Clone Wars animated series?
Only I think the first three or four.
So there's like two. There's like a hardcore group of Mandalorians, and they lived on a moon called Concordia. And then the people that lived on Mandalore were more like liberal, if you will. So it was like conservative Mandalorians versus like the more liberal Mandalorians. So the
Hmm.
Concordian Mandalorians, I think, are who these guys are branch from, the armorer and this guy, this Vizsla guy, and stuff like that. That's where they saved Din Djarin. They found him as a foundling, and
Yeah.
so they raised him that way. But Bo Katan comes from Mandalore, the
Right.
planet,
Yeah.
which they were all cool. They were like, you could take off your mask. It's no big deal. Like, you can live a normal life. Like, it's fine. They're just a little more liberal than the other guys. PE is saying in the chat, I find it interesting that we first see Ahsoka Tano in an episode of The Mandalorian where she's trying to get a Beskar spear from that one bad guy, and then later Din Djarin has the spear turned into armor for Grogu that Din then hands over to Ahsoka Tano. Yeah, that is really interesting. We're gonna get to that episode, I promise. But
Yeah.
but yeah, that's super interesting. Um, Blue saying that the armorer knew. I agree. I think she like had it. I think you're right, Evan. She smelled it on him. Like she was just like, oh, this guy took off his mask. There's something different about him.
So I just found
Because
it a
he does
weird.
ask about Bo Katan, remember?
Oh yeah, yeah. I just thought it was a weird thing. Like, do you think she stopped it because she didn't want him to finish off like the like because now her coven or whatever is very sparse.
Yeah, I 100% think that's what happened. Like she called him out so that he wouldn't finish him off. Also, just to be like, yo, I've always known, I know what's up. Like I'm smart. like
Yeah.
I know what's going. I'm smarter than you. That's why I'm like the armor and the leader of this like group. Like because I can see, she can sense things. Like she might even
Yeah.
be force sensitive. Who knows? I love that the
Mm.
force is like a bigger thing than just the Jedi or the Sith. Like that's one of the great things about these new shows is that like, and also the Clone Wars and like the animated series for Star Wars is they've kind of expanded what the Force is, and even Luke in I feel like we'll talk about Luke in a lot more detail, but even Luke in the sequel trilogy, like the way he trains Rey, it's different from how Jedi were teaching before. He's like, don't get caught up on this dogma. Like, think about the Force in terms of like a bigger picture. Like what can it mean to everyone, not just Jedi or Sith. And
Yeah, and because
I see that here.
yeah, which is great that they're doing that because I mean they always talk about whenever they talked about the force, they're like, oh, it flows through everything,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but then like it was always, but it's only utilized or felt with these two extremes of those who utilize the force, and now yeah, like you're saying, it's sort of if it flows through everything, and then there's force sensitive people or whatever, like there's a spectrum. It's nice.
I love questions like this. I wonder if Mandalorian culture full frontal nudity is okay in the movies and TV shows, but people taking off their helmets is crossing the line of so like when they do it, like do they just leave their helmets on? Is that what you're saying, PE? Because like I feel like yeah, the answer is like they just don't take off their helmets, but clothing is fine. You can take off everything else if you're intimate with someone, but you got to leave your helmet on. Is that right?
They have to have sex through a Beskar sheet with a hole in it.
Yes.
Sorry.
No, I agree. I think that's what it is. they're very they're very strict with the rules of of engagement. Anyways, he's banished from his little group and he goes off. He's like, okay, well, I got to go somewhere. So he's gonna go to Tatooine to meet up with what Amy Sedaris' character. I forget her name, but
Oh, I
um,
was so glad they brought her back.
yeah. And so he's gonna go meet up with her because she like supposedly she has like a replacement ship for him because you know his ship got destroyed last season. And like I love this scene where he has to like put all his weapons in this locker or like this case.
Yeah, that was great.
Like
Yeah.
it's super cool. Um,
What I love? What are those called? Singing bird,
yeah, the
hummingbirds,
songbirds or something, singing
songbirds. Yeah,
birds
I
or
love
something
that
like
he
that.
just
Yeah,
like unloaded those, and you get to see that they're so like
they're little needles.
tiny.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
tiny
it's
little
neat.
rockets. It's super cool. Uh, and yeah, he has a lot of weaponry, which is pretty nice. Like not unexpected there.
Right.
And here's a shot of that ring like world thing. I think it's pretty cool. This is the first time we've ever seen anything like this in Star Wars, and I appreciated that. I thought that
Yeah,
was
it
pretty
kind of had
cool.
a Cowboy Bebop feel to me as well.
I gotta watch that show. Everyone talks about how good
Yeah.
it is. It's a really good show, yeah.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
So no ship. Of course, you're gonna go on the bus. And this is like Mando going on the bus, like a hitman basically
Yeah.
taking the bus, like which is kind of a cool thing. And then of course we have this little moment where he's like looking at this, and I have to say that's awesome that they made it look like the
The ears.
Grogu, like the ears,
Yeah,
yeah.
love that.
PE saying it was essentially a scene of Din Djarin interacting with an interstellar TSA. Yeah, that's totally what it was like. It was like TSA.
Yeah.
Totally, I agree. But
Except
yeah,
they didn't have a problem with him taking his mask off, which they TSA agents usually have to argue with people now.
could I wear a mask and say it's like my religion? He actually does say, by the way, to the guy like, I'm
Oh
a
yeah,
Mandalorian. Like, weapons are my religion. It's my religion to carry weapons or whatever. Like, so it's really funny. Um, but yeah, I wonder. Like, yeah, I wonder. It's an interesting question. But they are like the space TSA.
yeah.
So
Yeah, I
here we
love that
go.
comparison.
I love that they did you like the prequel trilogy, Evan? Like, do you like like episode 1, 2, and 3?
Okay, I appreciate the story and the what they added to the stew of Star Wars at the time, but I
The stew. I like the Star Wars stew.
yeah, like it really it thickened up the broth, I think for sure. Um,
Yes, it did.
but I don't like how it was executed. I didn't love the execution of it. It was a
Of
little
the
too
prequels, like
of the prequels.
okay.
Yeah, I like. Um, I liked which I want to go back and watch Clone Wars and Rebels more. I really liked what I watched of it in the past, and I appreciated that more. But yeah, so I don't know if I'm not like a yeah. That's a tough one for me. I get a little tongue tied on how I feel about them.
I mean, I kind of agree with Blue's comment that just came up. This show makes me appreciate the prequels more.
Yes, yes.
Uh,
Okay, that's perfect. Yes.
yeah, like it's weird. I guess the prequels to me, I like the prequels a lot, but I get the critiques 100%. Like, I'm not denying that those things aren't there. Like, I feel like maybe, like to me, I feel like to me it's very interesting, like all the political intrigue and all the like backstory of how like things came to pass. But
Hmm.
ultimately, like, I don't think it's what fans were expecting or hoping for. And I think ironically the sequel trilogy is the same. Like, most of the majority of fans did not appreciate the sequel trilogy. I appreciate the sequel trilogy less than the prequel trilogy. I actually like the prequel trilogy
Oh
more.
wow.
Yeah, but I do also, I mean, like, also The Last Jedi I think is a masterpiece. I mean, like, it's all neck and neck to me. Like, like I feel like, I guess if I had to, like, it's like a triangle. Like, the original trilogy is like up here, and then you have like the sequel trilogy and the prequel trilogy like pretty much
Right.
under underneath it or whatever. It's like a Triforce of Star Wars Triforce or whatever. But yeah, I agree with Blue. Like, there's things that the Mandalorian does that like they bring in things from like other Star Wars that like also hinting at future Star Wars. Like, so the Mandalorian's doing a good job of like I feel like filling in the blanks, if you will, like bringing more to these things that were not fully defined maybe in the films, and
Hmm.
so this is a great like moment for me because the N1 starfighters were cool and we didn't really get to see them much beyond like the
Those were the yellow ones, right?
yeah, the yellow ones
Oh
from
yeah, those were in
yeah,
yeah.
and Anakin flies in one and everything like that. So to see this like hot rod version of it was cool. I also love that it was just like the Mando version of it. So uh
Yeah.
yeah, it was pretty awesome. So there
I got sorry to keep dropping.
yeah,
I just feel
yeah,
like it's fun like to I don't even know if I'm supposed to be talking about it, but I mean, Brandon was telling me about when last year when they were filming, and he was like, "Oh, I can't wait till you see the new ship," but he was saying he had so much trouble getting into it. They built it weird that you can't just like step into it,
yeah.
and so he would have to like kind of jump into it, and it took like a bunch of scenes of him getting into it. And they made it too tight, and he showed me his back, and he's just covered in bruises because when he
Oh
drops in,
geez.
it just the side slams him, and he was doing like tons of takes and takes and takes of it, and it was like nailing him right here, and his back was like so bruised.
For those of us in the audience who don't know, Brendan Wayne is probably in the suit most of the times you see the Mandalorian, right? Like a
Hmm.
lot of the times, especially during like stunt scenes and action scenes.
And he flies the
Um,
ship. He does
and he
all
flies.
the
Yeah, he does all that kind of work. So that's who's in the suit. So that's who Evan's talking about. So that's pretty cool to get those insights about it. It's a bummer that like that happens. I'm just gonna quote Robert Zemeckis, who I think said, "Pain is temporary, film is forever." So I'm sorry, I'm sorry, Brendan. I hope it's not permanent.
I
But we
wonder if
get.
that's what uh, Tarantino said to Uma Thurman when she ended up driving that car into the tree.
I didn't know about that. That's
Oh,
crazy.
really?
Yeah, I didn't know that. What is that? Like she drove a
It
car
was
into it?
Kill.
In Kill Bill?
I think it was Kill Bill 1. He made her do a stunt. She was really not like it was like stunt driving, and he wanted the shot of her doing it, and he like forced her to do it, and she like didn't forgive him for a long time, and she ended up crashing and like slamming into a tree and hurting herself pretty bad.
Oh shit. Wow, okay. Um the in the comments PE says, "I wonder if one tried to wear a Mandalorian helmet while trying to go through airport security if the TSA would require that one take off the helmet." I wonder too. PE, let me know if you're willing to try it and report back to us because I don't know. But PE also says the prequels were a million times better than sequels. Yeah, I'm really fond of the prequels. I liked them when they came out, but they continue to grow a big place in my heart. But yeah, Amy Sedaris, like one thing that I really loved was like she's like such a hustler. Like she didn't have like any like he's like you told me I came here because you told me you had a replacement for my ship, and she's like yeah, I got this thing right over here, like like this is great. Like you could tell like she like totally forgot about that. She just sent that message randomly like just to see what he would say. And like now he shows up and she's like, "Oh, I got to make this work. I got this pile of junk." And she does freaking make it work. Like they built a nice, like I love the scene by the way she speaks Jawa and that she dated a
Yeah.
Jawa is like really funny. But like the whole and then they had this like it was cool. The whole building of the ship scene was really cool, but then they had this like crow, like this Tatooine crow cuz he was like wah, wah,
You,
wah, like
yeah, you
whatever,
did like a little
like
like yeah, little rooster thing.
but then we get the reveal like this like new souped up drag race, like version of the N1, which is the Naboo starfighter from episode 1. And this is like badass. And I love how the Mandalorian like was like touching it and like looking down, the lines to
Ooh,
see the
that's a great
lines, like
shot.
Yeah, it's like when like when you get a new car and you want to like look at the lines like really closely and everything. Like it just reminded me of like all of that kind of stuff. Like you could feel the love for it. He's
Hmm.
like gazing at it, and he's like acting like he's unsure if it's worthy or not. But you can tell he's like, this is a beautiful fucking ship. It's like
Yeah.
yeah, it's like really cool. And then he takes it out for a spin, and you know, aside from, I just gotta say, like the special effects for a TV show are insanely gorgeous. I mean, like look at this shit. Like, does that
Yeah.
not look like real? Like if someone took a photo of a jet flying low over a city, right? Like, doesn't that look real AF?
It's
Uh,
incredible. Yeah.
it's insane. And then we get to revisit. I love this shot too. By the way, that's
Hmm.
probably Brendan, right? Like in
It's
there.
100% him. Yeah, because
Shout
he
out to
does all
Brendan
the.
Wade. Yeah.
Hey, buddy.
Um, and then he like
Mm.
flies around. He goes into outer space. He goes through Beggar's Canyon, which we saw in the prequels. And then this little guy who was riding with him on the freighter before, on the on the passenger ship before, like sees him and he gives him like a little nod. And like we know that little bubble is there for Grogu, like if Grogu's gonna
Yeah.
come back. And yeah, it's just this whole sequence was like, I felt like it was like a love letter in a way to the prequels, but just to Star Wars in general. Like, part of Star Wars is about like fast action, like flying things. Like George Lucas loves race cars. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? Like I feel like spaceships, like could when we start going into outer space like more regularly and people start owning spaceships, like personal spaceships, this is what it's gonna be like. You know what I mean? Like, what do you think?
uh, you think it's gonna be more of a free for all where you can? I feel like it's gonna be so regulated and so like.
Shit's
Uh,
regulated now and people still drag race through the streets. Like, it's just, are you gonna get caught
well,
by
I'm
the
saying.
cops, like, or are you not, like,
Oh, I'm thinking it's gonna be even. But I'm saying like, it's gonna be like intensity, like more.
oh, you think like the
Uh,
government can take over your car, like your spaceship, right? Like if they need to. Which, by the way, in this scene, that's what was happening. Like so the New Republic, these are X-wings, which are a classic Star Wars ship, and I love them. They
mhm.
look beautiful. But when they found him, they were like the police. They were just totally like, "All right, prepare your ship to be taken over." Like they wanted to like autopilot it and take it in. And then he was like, "Oh, sorry that I don't have that system connected or whatever." It's like really funny scene.
I'm gonna
But
next time I get pulled over, I'm gonna try that. Like,
yeah,
oh,
sorry. Well,
sorry.
like, when I was a kid, I used to think that like police officers had like a magnet in their car that could like force you to pull over. Like I genuinely believe that. And
That's that's a lot of probably Star Trek in as
yeah.
in your childhood. So.
But somehow he's able to get away from this with a little warning. He goes back to the planet.
Because that one guy was the person that tried to recruit. What's her name? Right?
Yeah, Cara Dune, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and also they
he
had
was
that encounter last season
yeah.
in the
He
ice planet.
recognizes.
Yeah, you
Do
recognize
you
his
think he
voice
more
and
than?
stuff like
Do
that.
you think he more than recognized his voice or?
I think he recognized the voice. And he was like, "Oh yeah, that's that guy. That's the Mando
No.
guy, for
Um.
sure."
And then he gets away by like jumping in the warp speed, not warp speed, warp speed. Um. What do you call it?
He
Light
actually
speed.
doesn't use hyperspeed. He has
Or yeah,
hyperspeed.
he
He
doesn't
does
have
have
to, right?
hyperspeed, but this thing has like nitro or something, like a
Yeah.
nitro mode or whatever. He sort of pushes that
Uh.
button. It's like
Yeah. It's just
bam, like he goes.
gone.
Yeah, he was like that was like
So
really funny.
I will say you mentioned and I love that the empty space in the back could be like a nod to like, oh, that's where his little
Grogu's gonna
sidecar for
be
Grogu. I was really excited that he was going to get an R2 unit,
right.
but then they said, oh, there's I hollowed
Yeah,
that out, and I was like, damn.
she was like, "No, no, no. I know you hate the droids because he didn't like droids before, but he
Yeah.
actually like warmed up to droids in this episode, which was pretty cool. Like I
Well, and
like
he
that
had
a
that
lot.
bond with the IG unit.
Yeah, and the IG, yeah, like that guy's sacrifice. Yeah, IG. That's right. I forgot about that. So yeah,
Um,
he's like that's the thing. Like one of the interesting things about this episode, and like one of the things I liked about it the most is like we see him at odds with his old life. He goes back to like his little clique or whatever, and he just doesn't fit there anymore. You know what I mean? Like he's seen the world. Like he's gone out and he's kind of seen the world a little bit more, and he knows that there's like cool people with like totally different ideals. Like maybe the way is not just
Mm.
narrow. You know what I mean? Like
It's not this is the way, it's this is a way now.
this is a way. Oh, Evan, good one.
He's like the kid that goes to college and comes back and visits all his townie friends, and he's just like, oh, maybe my townie
Legit,
friends
right?
are
Like, don't you feel like that's kind of was there a vibe for you in that? Like, did you get that vibe from this episode too?
for sure, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's legit. I like that the townie friend. It's like, why are you wearing that Armani thing? What is that? Like, what's going on here? But no, that's a super superficial, terrible example. But you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like, yeah, you go out, you get more experience, you come back, you're kind of seeing like how you've changed. You know what I mean? Like you've actually like changed. Yeah, I like that a lot. And then we go back down, and he's like super happy. He's like, "Yeah, I'll take this. I love this ship." He's like happy with it. And then we see Fennec Shan come up, and she's like, "Boba Fett needs a favor," and he's like, "Yo, it's on the house. Don't even pay me, but I gotta go see my little guy first." And then that's how the episode ends. And so that's Book of Boba Fett, episode 5.
Yeah. So I love that he was like, it's on the house, like, which flashback to when they, and like the the post credit scene when they announced Book of Boba Fett, when he sat in Jabba's chair, and they were like, Mando will return in Book of Boba Fett, or however they worded it, and that was like sort of like, oh wow, there's going to be a new. I kind of, my imagination was running like away from me, and I was like, oh, I guess this show's going to be now a turn. Like they were friends now, they teamed up, but now I assumed Mando was going to come back and have to dethrone for whatever reason, and they were going to be at odds. But I don't know why I always thought that the Book of Boba Fett was going to be, he was going to be this sort of antagonist to Mandalorian. I was way off, because their relationship is intact. So there you go.
Yeah, it's true. No, I agree. The show surprised me for sure. Like, I didn't think that they were gonna go in this direction. I thought the Book of Boba Fett was gonna. Blue saying kind of the same thing. Yeah, I was surprised that there was basically no Boba Fett, but I trust the show. Thanks, Blue. That sums up kind of my feeling too. It's like, yeah, I saw a lot of folks on the internet are like really confused. They're like, I don't get what's happening. Like, we were focused on Boba Fett, and then all of a sudden, like, for the last 2 episodes, like, there's literally like no Boba Fett. Like, so I get it. It just doesn't bother me, because Blue kind of nailed it. I trust the show.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like, yeah. Go ahead.
I was just saying, it was like, I mean, it was a bottle episode, but like, it was necessary, because it would have been
two
weird.
Though we get 2 episodes, like 2 that.
But it would have been it would have been weird if Mando showed up, and you're like, wait, but what? But then it would have been cool if they did just have him show up, because then when they come back with Mando season 3,
well, that's what like shows have always done, right? Like, you always have like. You have like a show centered around a character, and then another cool character, like how Luke appeared in Mando season 2. Like, that's what I appreciate about this, is like it kind of subverted normally we get like the heroic, like, oh my god, the swell of music, and then, oh my god, look, there's Mando and he's here to help and stuff like that. I have a little prediction. We haven't talked about the next episode yet, but I think Grogu's gonna come back during whatever the battle, the climax of Book of Boba Fett on Tatooine, and Luke's gonna fucking come back and help with the liberation of Tatooine. I think Tatooine's gonna get liberated.
Yeah,
like, that's like the whole thing, and I think it would be really meaningful and profound for Luke to be a part of that, because he grew up on Tatooine.
Yeah,
like, that's his home basically, right? So like, I think like Grogu and he's gonna expand Luke's idea of like. I think Luke wants to train Grogu. He's got an attachment to him because of Yoda and all that stuff. We'll talk more about this in when we do the next episode discussion. But like, which is now.
We'll talk
But
about
like
this more right now.
right now. But yeah, I totally think Luke's. I hope actually my prediction is I hope Luke's involved in the liberation of Tatooine because I think that's what's happening next.
I think that would be wonderful. I think you nailed it. I think that's gonna have to happen.
I feel
Now that
like
you
it
said
should.
it,
If it
yeah.
doesn't happen, I won't be disappointed. But I feel like that's the direction we're
I mean,
going
it's
in.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it'll kind of like you said, open up his mind of like choosing because like he's got like he made his choice and he probably thinks he has no attachment to any of that anymore, and he's just
But he
this.
does.
But yeah,
Yes.
he's got blinders
Yes.
on to his past, and he's living in the ultra present and in the moment. And he's this Jedi master, but yeah, I think which goes in turns with because right now he is in the dogma stage.
Right.
So maybe that's the thing that breaks him, that leads to him training Rey later on, where you said he's
Right.
like you got like he's a little more fluid with the way that
With the way he trains. But we have to remember he did fail with Kylo, and I guess we have to talk about that. Evan, do you feel okay with making it show so I can go and someone's calling me, my family's calling me real quick. It's gonna be like 2 minutes. Do you feel good with like keeping the audience entertained for a bit while I go and check out what's going on?
Sure.
All right, I'll be
Me
right back.
me and ET have it covered.
Yes. All right, sweet. I'll be right back.
Okay. Hey everybody, it's me and ET, and we're gonna make it show. This ET is a little popcorn. If you, oh no, what is that actually? It's got a little plant of some kind. I think from his planet. Let's see what we got here. If Luke is supposed to be a Christ-like figure, then liberating the entire planet would totally fit that image. Yes. When Luke came down to Tatooine, let my people go. Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think Starfleet Boy hit the nail on the head. I mean, that would be totally just I don't know why Swan Song is coming to my brain, but that's not what I'm thinking. It would be just full circle. Yeah, I think it'd be a beautiful moment. I almost want to pretend like I don't have that in my head now, so that when it happens, I could be like, wow. But I'll still probably be like, oh wow. Do is let's see if what else? What do you guys think? I mean, sound off in the comments. Do you think what are predictions for is Grogu going chainmail or lightsaber? He's gonna have Yoda's lightsaber. So I don't know. Or I'm getting ahead of myself actually because that's the end of the episode we're about to talk about. So maybe, but I mean, we all know what happened hopefully here. But I'd love to hear what you guys think because I want him to choose Mando, but I don't want him to give up on his little training. Because what are you gonna do? He's got a little tiny lightsaber, a little baby lightsaber. How cute was that? Little tiny, little pocket lightsaber. But yeah.
You did such a good job. I really appreciate you
Mhm.
making it show. I'm sorry I had to do that.
Oh, it's okay.
But yeah, so yeah, we are getting ahead of ourselves. We will talk about the choice.
Sorry, yeah.
Like we will talk about the choice. I promise.
I didn't mean to get. I realized as I was saying that I'm like, oh god, I just like skipped ahead to everything we're about to talk about.
I don't know. I like the PE like Luke is definitely like a. I see what you're saying. Like he's like I see what you're saying. Like yeah, it's like it's a Christ parable or whatever. But I like to think of it. I like to think of him. So we had this like discussion last night. Like, George Lucas says that the chosen one is Anakin Skywalker, but Obi-Wan Kenobi thinks that the chosen one is Luke Skywalker. I'm on Team Obi-Wan. I think Luke Skywalker is the chosen one, and I think that like he's gonna fulfill this. But in episode 6, we start out with this like scene of like a drug exchange. Like they've got money, and then they've got the spice, and those guys are like, "Here you go. Here's the money. Here's the spice, or whatever." I don't know why it's all Pikes doing the exchange. Like I feel like it should have been like it would have been cooler if the money was like if it was like others on Tatooine, you know what I mean? Like because the Pikes are the drug runners, so why would they be giving drugs to them? But whatever, it was still a cool scene, and we get the return of Cobb Vanth, who's this character played by very hot Timothy Oliphant, who's like now a dad. Like he's like a dad hot. Like he's got the gray hair and everything. He's like super Zodi hot.
What's Zodi?
Zodi, you've heard of Zodi, right? You know what a Zodi
No.
is, right?
No.
Zodi's like a daddy, but like even better. Like oh my god, that's like such a Zodi. Zodi, like, you never heard that Zodi? Like it's the last letter in the alphabet, right? Z. So like if you're a Zodi, you're like there's no more after you. Yeah. like
Okay. Fair enough.
You know, you could be a Zodi. I feel like you got Zodi vibes. Like just that. Yeah. You can tell Katie that I said you're a Zodi. See what she said. See what Katie says about you being a Zodi.
I'm sure she doesn't know that word.
By the way, shout out to Klingon Katie. Congratulations on your license. That's
She
cool.
says thank you. She's partying in San Diego right now.
San Diego, bro. I gotta come out to LA. I gotta see you guys.
Yeah. Oh, I would love that.
It's happening. It's happening. What were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna agree with you though. Like Timothy the Oliphant is a very attractive man. And in the Western thing, because he was in what, Justified?
Yeah, there was I forget what the show is, but he is in Westerns. There's an actor. He's reunited with an actor from a Western that he did. I can't remember the name of the Western at the moment, but yeah.
He does it well.
Yeah, he's great.
He's made for that.
I love that Star Wars has this like cowboy vibe to it too. Like I think it's cool that Star Wars has always had like a Asian influence, like with the which by the way, those samurai movies kind of like are like Westerns in Japan.
Right, yeah.
It's like a very similar vibe. But yeah, Timothy Oliphant's character, Cobb Vanth, represents kind of like the classic trope or archetype of a, like a marshal in the United States in the Old West, like I feel like he's like 100% that vibe with the bandana, just like everything here. You could easily, without like, it could be a 6-shooter in his holster. Like it doesn't have to, not a blaster necessarily. Like it's
actually, I have something cool since we're talking about the Western. I'll be right back.
Oh, okay, cool. My turn to make it show. What was like the first audience who's listening? Like, what was the first thing that you noticed Timothy Oliphant in?
I know mine.
What was it?
Go.
Oh yeah, that's probably mine too. Actually, now that I think about it, I feel like Oh, I love that movie. Oh my gosh, nice. Yeah. Nice remembrance. Blue is saying he is a Zadi. PE says, I also think that this will be the first blow to Luke Skywalker's ego that will eventually lead to him giving up on the Jedi altogether and become the cynical bastard that we see in the sequel trilogy. I find that so sad, but you're probably right, PE. That's a good point, about that. So, but I do kind of find that to be sad. So what'd you bring here? I'm gonna
So I think you've seen it before, but I didn't put it on for the last stream we did, but I had it before. But this is again something Brandon gave me. It's his signature hat that they released just for him. But because it's got the influence, he's got a little cowboy hat.
Oh yeah, we have seen this before.
Yeah, because he's of the cool Western influence. It's got the cool cowboy hat. I think that's one of the reasons he said like Favreau picked him is because of his Western background being
so cool. I mean,
John
just
Wayne's.
the fact that you have a Wayne, like a John Wayne's descendant, in this, like, to me legitimizes the Western qualities of Mandalorian. I'll ask you this again offline, but if you can get me a hat, like I'd be so down.
I
I'd be so appreciative. I don't know if you can do that.
Yeah, I'm
Just
sure
saying.
yeah. I will work on that. If not, you can have this one.
No, no, no. I don't want that
I
one. But
want
I
you to
will
have it.
take you to. We're gonna meet up. And we're gonna do a sugarfish, and you can wear that hat. And I'll take
Oh,
pictures of
sweet.
it. It's. I would never take away your hat from you. That's like a rad ass hat. You cannot give me that hat. Um, but so yeah, we get this scene, and it's pretty badass. I kind of my view on recreational drug use has changed since I was a kid, but I used to be straight edge when I was younger and everything like that. And I kind of that straight edge kid in me kind of enjoyed when he tips over the spice because it's like this like really
Yeah,
like the guy says like this is more
more than your village or whatever. Yeah,
it's worth more than your fucking village. And so he's like, yeah, well fuck you. I'm gonna like tip it over and like destroy it. And I just kind
yeah.
of enjoyed the something about it that I enjoyed. I think of spice like in Dune. Spice is different. Spice helps expand your mind and stuff like that. And it's I know Lucas borrowed spice from that, but here it seems like we haven't actually seen it on screen. I don't think, but spice seems more like what the problems we're facing with like meth and like that brand of drugs
Hmm.
here in the United States in particular, and probably around the world. So
Yeah.
I felt like a
I mean,
very go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say. I mean, he definitely makes a statement with that. Not like with tipping that over. That it's like no question that
This
you
shit's
know
bad. Like this stuff's bad for
it's.
people. It's
I
ruining
mean, he's
lives.
his.
Like basically,
It's ruining
right?
the
Yeah,
planet. Yeah,
yeah.
he's. It's he sees it the divide that's happening and the deterioration that's happening on Tatooine, and it's probably a lot of that.
A lot of that, yeah.
Um,
So it was a profound little moment. This Star Wars has never kind of done this. This is a new. I feel like this is a new, like it's dipping its toes into a new way of social commentary that it hasn't done before, which is interesting. That at least not to my knowledge. Like I haven't seen like drugs addressed, like like misuse or like just like the oppression using drugs as a form of oppression, if you will,
mhm.
which is something that drugs can be used for. So anyways, we go on to get the Mando arrive on Luke's planet. This is where he builds his Jedi temple. He builds a new Jedi Order, and we do see that being destroyed in the sequel trilogies.
Mhm.
As a result of Kylo Ren and him having a moment of like, basically he spooks Kylo and then something happens. I know in the comic books, like it's a little more complicated. Like Snoke apparently unleashes, like is who destroys it,
Right. Yeah,
but
I've seen those frames.
yeah, like but apparently, but yeah, according to the films alone, though, we think it's Kylo that betrayed. Well, not betrayed, but like felt betrayed by Luke, and then destroyed, and then like destroyed the freaking Jedi Temple. And we get our little R2 with his little antenna, and he's waiting there. Um, oh, this is a good point. P is saying spice in Star Wars is more like meth, while spice in Dune is more like DMT. That's a really good point. I like that you know about DMT, P. I'm very curious about DMT. I haven't tried it yet, but I am curious about it. I feel like one day I may, if I come across a legitimate source, I may try it.
Come to LA and we'll just do a bunch of
We'll see.
TNT.
Yeah, damn you. Well, we won't talk about it
We'll go
online.
to
Let's
we'll go to
let's not
Joshua Tree.
incriminate
We'll go
Joshua
to
Tree.
Joshua Tree
Oh my
and
god, I would love to. Yeah. Okay, we'll talk. Yikes.
all right, we'll talk offline.
We'll
Uh,
talk offline about that stuff. We gotta keep that
uh,
stuff
so I
offline.
will say in the PE is gonna have to come out to LA. That's the only- uh, so I will say this. Speaking of things that make you euphoric and trigger endorphins, I always forget how happy R2D2 makes
Mm-hmm.
me.
Mm-hmm.
And then as soon as I saw him in this scene, as soon as he showed up, I just felt this like joy, and I'm like, oh yeah, like R2D, like ever since I was a kid, has made me so happy. Something about like seeing him and hearing him, like, or him. Like, it's I don't know what like I don't know if I'm
It's
assigning
because
gender to R2.
it's because R2 is just like a series of he's like so simple and easy to understand for a kid. Like he's just he just beeps and like you can tell from he's like very raw emotions. Like when he's nervous, he shakes, ooh, ooh,
Yeah.
like those kind of things. And like I think to a kid, those are very easy to understand because we're still so close to our infant selves. You know what I mean? Like as we grow older, we forget what it's like to be an infant. But I feel
Yeah.
like subconsciously R2 triggers something. And just also R2 never fails to go to bat. Like
Mm-hmm.
this guy like doesn't give a fuck. He in if we want to go in chronological order, he saves Amidala's ship. Like he's out there, he sees his droid brethren being destroyed, and he still like tries to fix the shields on her ship and helps her
Mm-hmm.
escape. Like he is literally the reason why Luke and Leia are born. Like he's Amidala. That's the other cool thing about R2 is that like he's her droid. And like he gets passed on to Luke and Leia, like what I mean, like to Luke in particular. Like I'm getting emotional right now, but to
Yeah.
me, it's like if your mom gives you something that's gonna take care of you. You know what I mean? Like, and she didn't even know, and he ends up with Luke, and Leia, and like he was with Leia forever, and then he ends up
Mm-hmm.
with Luke, and so R2's special. Yeah, I get why you feel that way. Like
Yeah.
R2's like a big fucking deal, like And George
Mm-hmm.
Lucas used to say this. I haven't heard this like in a long time, but he used to say that like joking. I think he was saying it jokingly, but he used to say that like Star Wars is really about R2D2 and 3PO. Like it's not about anyone else, it's their
Yeah.
story. And I kind of see that like from a certain point of view, if you will.
Yeah.
I definitely kind
I
of
think
see that,
Simon Pegg in his Nerd Duel book, which I have somewhere, kind of did a whole chapter on that. It's there, like he kind of parroted that, and it said that like the whole impetus of Star Wars, like kind of the crux of it, like falls on those two.
Yeah, they're like
Um,
they're a huge. Yeah, it's interesting because the story, if you think about it, the original trilogy doesn't like isn't it basically starts with R2 and 3PO, right? Like they're the first people we see in Star Wars, so it's kind of cool. Like
mhm.
yeah, and 3PO has a great moment. I have to say, in Rise of Skywalker, which has problems, but 3PO has a beautiful moment in that movie too, and I think that was like a well deserved moment for him too. But yeah, I love these two droids, 3PO and R2, just instantly like that's the other thing. R2 was Amidala's droid, and 3PO was built by Anakin. So
Mhm.
it's like very special, like the fact that that's one of the things I love about the prequels is that they tied them in. I know I hear critiques about it, but I love it. I personally love it. I think it's like really great.
I'll give you that. Yeah, I do like the lineage it
It's like your
threads
mom and
together with
dad.
those two.
It's like your mom and dad left you the best of themselves. Like even though they failed and they died and they couldn't raise you, but they left you with these fucking droids that are like just
It's like a
precious.
parrot.
Yeah.
Parrots live like 80 years, right?
I don't know about parrots, but yeah, something like
It's like your
exactly.
parents left you a parrot, but
It's
they
like
turned out to
it's
be
like
like,
they're nannies. They're like nannies.
yeah,
I don't know. It's
oh, for
like
sure.
um so here we got these new droids too, by the way. They're these little ant they're not little, sorry. These like ant-like builder droids. What did you think of those
Yeah.
guys?
Pretty neat. I'm wondering, like, where they, did he have them shipped in? How did they get on that planet?
I think that he totally bought them from whatever industry, like like he probably had them shipped in for sure.
But isn't he off the grid there? Like,
Mm-mm.
no?
So this is after Return, like this is like 5 or 6 years after Return of the Jedi. I think he's the hero of the Republic, basically, and so they're just like, oh, you want to build a temple on this like isolated like planet somewhere? Yeah, we'll give you our resources to help you build it. I
You're
don't think
right.
it's
I was
yeah,
thinking he was on when he disappeared in
Octo,
the
yeah, like
sequels.
where he goes to
Yeah,
Acto. Yeah, that's later
that's
when
what
he
I was thinking.
disappears.
Yeah. It
This
looks
is
similar,
before
so I was
that, yeah. Well, that's
my
the
bad.
other funny thing. I don't remember if I saw this on New Rockstars or Screen Crush. I watched both of those, but the building structures are almost like they're like very much like like in the Last Jedi, the original Jedi Temple. So it suggests to me that Luke like went out when there was peace finally, when the Emperor was destroyed, or we thought he was destroyed, rather, I should say. He went out into the galaxy to like learn about the Jedi. It kind of makes sense that he discovered Octo and he's like, "Oh, look, the original Jedi temple was actually simple. It wasn't this crazy building on a city planet." You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
It was like this. It was like these like pagoda things or whatever. And so he was like, I'm gonna model my new I think he felt like this is like a renaissance for Jedis. I'm the last of the Jedis. Like, you know, like let me start from the beginning. And I think he was really inspired by that and thought, let me build my temple to reflect that, which makes it even more sad or tragic that he ends up on Octo in his
Yeah.
isolation, and he has to be reminded every day that like he tried to recreate this, but he failed. You know, like he failed, and so it's sad. It's super sad, but yeah,
Yeah.
I like these little droids. I thought they were cool. They're segmented, just like an ant would be, and or like a bug, you know. And I love just that they were building like things like that. They were crawling around and building this building. I think that's like a cool way of showing like a non-traditional droid. You know what I mean? Like it's a very specific droid. I thought it was a really cool new
Yeah.
addition.
Yeah. Um
PE says those ant builder droids would be good for building structures in harsh environments like Mars. Hell yes! Great call out. Hey,
mhm.
NASA, if you're watching this stream, take a page from the Mandalorian.
This is like one of the first droids that you see that's like also like something that you could like I could see in my lifetime like you're saying like building things on Mars like it looks and like the mechanics of it look very doable. I don't know. I feel like we could see something like this. I mean, I feel like a lot of robotics now, it's like based off of a lot of
Yeah,
robotics
like
that we're already seeing right
those
now.
Boston Robotics or whatever,
Hmm.
Boston. Yeah, those guys, like it's very. And by the way, they were in the Book of Boba Fett, like in the first or
Ah,
second episode. Remember, they were there. So yeah, I feel like this is a very practical design. I don't know. It might be interesting to see this design like come to fruition, but you can 3D print a house these days, so I don't think it's too far off to have builder droids at some
hmm.
point. This is so gorgeous, this planet. Like I really love the bamboo and like just the sweeping hills and all the greenery and the grass and everything like that. And it's just like I like the way, you know, like in the past, like when you saw scenes like this, it looked very ideal and like picturesque. And it still does, but it looks also very real. Like this looks like a
Hmm.
real place, right? Doesn't it? Like it's very natural looking.
Oh yeah. Um, yeah. I don't know what it is. I think. Yeah, I don't know what like you're saying. I don't know how they captured that. Like, it was like it's like, I guess understated would be the word. Like, it just looks very real. Like you said, yeah. Like I could see
Yeah,
just being on a hike and walking into this.
complete surprise to me. I did not expect to see Baby Grogu again. I actually thought at the end of Mandalorian season 2 that we weren't going to see Baby Grogu ever
Yeah,
again. Like maybe not ever again, but like you know for a long time. I
yeah.
get that this character is a cash cow for Disney. Like Grogu has like captured the hearts of the world. Like I've never seen a reaction to a character like this. Like even Yoda was not like everyone loves Yoda. Like my
I
dad
think
had
it's
like
like Elmo
yeah.
and Grogu. That's like
Like right,
I think
it's
those are
true.
the
It's
only
like
two that have. Yeah.
it's the world, like the whole world. I've never seen anything like this phenomenon. Like that's like part and I fully admit to being 1,000% on the Grogu like love bandwagon or whatever. Like I'm hooked. Like I love the fucking baby Yoda. Like it's he's so cute. He's just you want him to be safe. Like it triggers like a deep like human instinct the baby, like you see a fucking baby, most humans want to protect babies. Like
Mhm.
we'll like put ourselves on a grenade for a baby. Like that's how just we're wired, you know. Most humans, like not every human. I don't want, you know, but I feel like most humans, that's like something that's like deep seated in our, you know, DNA. And Baby Grogu is just so freaking cute, and the fact that he's a riff off of Yoda, who we all love from, I mean, just like there's so many layers of like just nostalgia, but like done in such a clever way in my mind. So yeah, I did not expect to see Grogu, but seeing him again
Yeah.
took me right back to all those like raw emotions, and I don't know, I just get captivated. I'm captivated by this character. I don't know how you feel about him.
I love him. I also didn't think we'd see him again until
Season
next
3
season.
maybe, or
Yeah.
maybe season 4. I thought maybe we'd do a season
Yeah.
without him. Yeah.
But I agree. I think it's because now, like, there's not much marketing for Book of Boba Fett, as not marketing, but merchandise for Book of Boba Fett that you can do that's really gonna. So now they can have the Book of Boba Fett edition with like little like chainmail Grogu or whatever. Like, uh,
I want a freaking
I
Beskar
wanna,
chainmail. Yeah.
yeah, like they. I mean, they need that merchandising. I wanna like. Oh, actually, we'll get to it in a second, so maybe I won't say that. Okay, never mind.
But anyways, here we are. We see Luke. So the effect that they were doing, the deep fake or whatever, to like superimpose Mark Hamill's face over the actor who's playing him, is so much better this season than it was in Mandalorian.
Mandalorian, which it was
Yeah,
good in Mandalorian.
it
I
was
mean,
good. It was
it wasn't
decent, but this
terrible.
is like insanely better. I mean, there's still
The
some.
audio is a little.
Yeah, so there's still some things that are like, we haven't crossed through the uncanny valley into suspension of disbelief, but this is the farthest I've ever been.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like for this kind of thing, I feel like they really have advanced this technology, or this like this process to a whole new level, and I think it's only going to get better. A lot of people are speculating that we're gonna get a Luke Skywalker show of set in this era. I hope we don't do that. Like, I like the mystery of Luke. I think like keeping Luke mysterious is a good thing. Like having him be, you know, a treat rather than a
We had the Luke
staple.
Skywalker show. It was called Episodes 79,
You mean
right? Or
4, 5, 6?
four. Sorry, four. Yeah, 79 was the sequels. Yeah, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. And we've also got him, of course, in the sequels. We got
And the
Luke's story and stuff like that. But
yeah.
this is kind of like the Luke, like one of the things. Like I wasn't necessarily disappointed by this, but like my expectation for the sequel trilogies was to see a more like heroic Luke. I didn't want him to become one with the Force. I knew it had to happen. Like I get it. Like it was like, you know, it's kind of like Star Wars' thing is like showing these, like repeating like these like major events through another character, like another perspective on it, right? So we saw Obi-Wan become one with the Force, we saw Yoda become one with the Force, we saw Qui-Gon become one with the Force. So it made sense to see Luke become one with the Force. Like I get that, but I just thought, like, for me, my expectation, because I love these characters so much, especially Luke, who was like a role model and a hero for me when I was a kid. So for me, the expectation was to see Luke, Han, and Leia be heroic till their end. And they were. They ended up being heroic, but just not in the way that I envisioned. And I like that. I'm glad. I'm glad it wasn't, you know, it subverted my
Do you think?
expectations.
Well, let's go through the three. I want to hear your thoughts on each one. Be like that version of heroics to the end. Like what do you think about Han being
So
heroic?
like when I first saw Han's death, when Kyle, I was so pissed. Like to me, The Force Awakens was pretty good. Like I did think it was like very like, you know, reminiscent of A New Hope, but like to me that was like almost unforgivable. Like I know that like Harrison Ford was like, I'll only play Han Solo again if I get to die or whatever, right? So like they were kind of fulfilling his wish, and I always knew about
Yeah.
that too, because I remember like I remember hearing about that and everything like that, but just to me it was like it was such a heartbreaker to see him. Like Han Solo is another character. Like I just like Leia, Han, and Luke to me are like characters that I grew up like wanting to be. You know what I mean? Like I wanted a group of friends like that. I wanted a romance like Han and Leia. Like that's those characters to me were just like so institutional to like my ideas of like, you know, just my ideas of like self, if you will. I mean, like they're so part of my core or whatever. So it just surprised me, and it wasn't what I wanted for Han. I didn't want him to die like where his son fucking like pierces him with his lightsaber, you know, like kills him. Like I wanted Han to go out like, you know, doing something great. He ends up doing something great because that affects Kylo Ren.
He did
like his love and compassion for his son, and like being there from the end, and letting his son kill him. Basically, like, you know, like yeah, no, it's complicated. It's complex.
I kind of loved it because it,
yeah,
you know,
yeah, I love it later. Like, yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. You know, as many times as he's cheated death through his heroics of piloting, through his heroics of, you know, sure shotness or ism or I don't know, whatever, and then his just natural gift of gab to talk his way out of a dicey situation that saved him, you know, and like as many times as you think he, you know, he would die in this like blaze of glory of, you know, whatever, and he's always been able to get him. So, you know, like as he ages into his silver years or whatever, he becomes
his silver years. I like that.
His things change, and what kills him is just like what he was always this just straight shooter, cool, collected guy that was, you know, like he always said the right thing and this and that, and you know, just like he goes out on like as a big softie. I don't know. It's like kind of shows the transition like that.
No,
like,
it's very special that he's there. It's touching. He's like basically his son's in a cult, and he's trying to get his son out of the cult. You know, and and the only way he can do it is to like let his son kill him, which is crazy. You know what I mean? Like it's just,
and he probably feels a little responsible because, you know, he was always skeptical of the Force, you know, until I think and then he.
Gosh, that's a beautiful moment in the movie when he's like, "It's real. It's all of it's true." I'm getting a little emotional here, but that is like such a different Han, right? Like from what we knew of Han. Yeah, it's true. It's so cool. He's a better father to Rey than he was to his own son too. There's just so much like, you know what I mean? Like there's so much, like there's such a complicated. It's so complicated. It's so good. It's true.
I loved it. I loved it.
I kind of love it too. I see what you're saying.
I think it would have been too on the nose if like he went out, you know, on a smuggling run, you know, last run, and they keep pulling me back in, and then he died. You know, like I think it was great.
I think Leia's the only one that meets my expectations of like a heroic end for Leia. I feel she was always underserved, and I feel like putting Leia in a prominent position in the sequel trilogy was a good call. So I do agree with that. You know, I think that was wonderful.
I think they did kind of damselify her slightly in the 4, 5,
in
6.
all the other in the other depictions.
So this was a good like to, you know, like no, she was way destined for more than you know. And then how do you feel about Luke becoming one with the Force?
Well,
I mean,
that's the thing.
You touched on it.
It was tough because I think of Last of the Jedi as a masterpiece film almost. Like I think Rian Johnson just like really fucking blew it out of the park and delivered. But it was as cool as what his feat of the Force was epic. He broadcasts himself across the fucking galaxy to face Kylo Ren, and he's not there. Like, you know what I mean? Like that blew my mind. Yeah, that blew my mind too. It was epic. I guess I wanted more. I guess like my initial expectation of Luke was that he would be I always saw him as like one of the things that I liked about Luke is like the optimism and the happiness, and he becomes a cynical old man. Like I think that was hard for me to like buy, but you know, like that's the thing. Seeing him here is almost like making up for that. Like like this is what I needed. I needed to see that Luke was was this Luke before he became that Luke, I guess. You know what I mean? Like I needed to see
Yeah.
a little bit of this like optimistic Luke who was like creating a new thing, like he was like trying to bring the Jedi back. He thought like, well, I've learned a lot. I want to like, I think the Jedi can come back. Like I love Obi-Wan, I love Yoda. I want to honor them, like so this is the kind of Luke. So this is kind of fulfilling stuff that I might have wanted in the in the sequel
Yeah.
trilogies, I should say. So yeah.
And like it's interesting that that he died. He up until he was cynical and died. Like or not died, but became one with the Force. And it's interesting to see him become so cynical. Like I don't know, like when you think of like Yoda up until the end, Yoda was so playful and
Right, he was still very very much like a believer, if you will, right?
yeah. I don't know. I think that's one lesson he could have like taken to the beyond with from Yoda is like to
Well, and Yoda comes
have
back,
fun.
and I like that Yoda does come back in the Last Jedi. He's like,
Hmm.
everything you need to know, you've already learned. I'm just gonna burn this bullshit down. Like make you face your trauma, I guess. Um, I get it though. We've all kind of had this like, we all kind of like want to be heroes, and at some point, inevitably, we're not. You know what I mean? Like it
Yeah.
just happens. At some point, you can't just keep heroing. The greatest heroes are heroes because they died. Like you know what I mean? Like, but if you keep living, you're not going to be a hero. At some point, you stop being a hero, and that's okay. And I think that's like a good lesson. This was a cute scene, by the way. Like, I love that
Oh yeah.
Grogu is still trying to eat frogs, and then it was a cool like I thought it was cool because here's like Grogu being like kind of selfish and using the Force to like to like eat, and then Luke's like, look at what you can actually do with the Force,
Hmm.
and he like levitates all the freaking frogs out of the water, and he's like, that's not what the Force is for. You know what I mean? Like, it is this easy, but like I like
Yeah.
this is cool, but he's like, this is not what it's for. Don't use the Force for this. And I like that he like illustrated that to like little Grogu. I also like that Grogu was very well trained. I mean, he has been trained in the Force, but he's blocked it out. And I like
Hmm.
that scene where like Luke is like, it almost feels like he's remembering more than I'm training him. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And that was pretty cool to me. Like I feel like Grogu might be more may have more education in the Force than Luke did because Grogu was in the temple. He was like, remember, he's 50 years old, and so for 20 years he lived in the temple before it got sacked.
But is he? But like cognitively, he's still very in his
He
in.
might not be able to talk, but I think he really understand. I mean, like the way he communed with Ahsoka in the previous season, they were having like a mind meld, like a conversation. So he can't talk like in English like we can, you know what I mean? But I think he
But I'm
know
just saying, like his first 20 years, he may have been more
like more like a
still.
kid, yeah. This is like Grogu. Grogu, I think at 50 is probably like a tween, probably like
Right.
12, like
Yeah.
11 or 12, like around that age. You know what I mean? Like for a humanoid. But that doesn't mean you can't. I mean, we have gymnasts, like
No.
kids. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you
Yeah.
could like as far as like his adeptness, like he could be very well trained in the Force.
Oh,
He
I
might
think
not
I
have
think
the
for sure he
experience.
is, but
Yeah, like,
yeah.
but cognitively, I
Um.
don't know. Like it's hard to say because he's an alien. You know what I mean? He's not an alien, but he's just not a humanoid. He's not like
Mhm.
us. You know what I mean? And Luke
Yeah.
even says that later. He's like, what will be only like what will be only a short time for you will be a lifetime for others. You know what I mean? Like
I love that.
that's
Yeah.
legit. Yeah, like Yoda lived to be over 900 years old, like about 900 years old. So, and we don't even know if that was like the full lifespan of his species. Like we know that Maz Kanata, who's in the sequel trilogy, she's like 1,000 years old too. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So there are these long-lived species in Star Wars,
And then
and
how?
Grogu. What's that?
Oh no, and I was looking up. There was a wasn't there even? Uh, hold on. Sorry.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine. But I'm just saying there's long-lived species in Star Wars, and that's a really good point. Like, what happens if you do live for 1,000 years? Like, you're gonna see a lot of people. die. Like, and Yoda kind of like, I think it's interesting. Like, there's a debate going on online about Luke and his attachment detachment thing. Like where should he be at this point and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
he is a student of Yoda's, and Yoda's like this creature or being, I should say, that's lived over like almost 1,000 years. So Yoda has learned the hard way that you kind of have to celebrate people for how long they live, because from Yoda's perspective, like lots of people have died in his lifetime that just from natural causes, what I mean, like just from a natural lifespan, or so on and so forth. So it's really interesting. That it's a really cool thing that Luke conveys to Grogu.
Yeah. Makes you sad. I don't know. It kind of made me sad.
It's both blissful and sad, isn't it? Because like you're on the one hand you're like super happy to see like Luke, like in action, and then on the other hand you're like, oh shit, like this is so sad. How like look how good it like doesn't that look like Mark Hamill is like a young man? Like it's crazy.
Yeah, they did a good job on this.
They haircut and everything.
I still, the Sebastian Stan, like I know that was like a thing. I would have been. I think that would have been nice to have the deepfakes looks great, but I would have suspended my belief to have someone that like an actor that looked
1,000%. I'm surprised like that didn't, because even Sebastian Stan's voice quality, I feel like he could do a good impression of Mark Hamill at this point, what I mean, like that.
Yeah.
So I read that like, because did you see the gallery, like how they did Luke Skywalker in Mando season 2? Did you watch
the gallery?
Disney does these like
like Boba's got
so it's like
a mask or whatever.
It's like a digital, even the voice is like process, it's like a digital thing, like it's not, it's like, and you could kind of sense that here. Again, I feel like this is the best the technology has gotten so far.
Yeah,
it's the most believable. Yeah, I would have, but I personally also agree with you that I think like casting an actor who looks like Mark Hamill and like can do an impression.
It doesn't have to be exact,
but yeah, it doesn't have to be exact. Just enough would have been more. I think would have been more interesting. But that being said, like it is uncanny. Like I look at this picture, and if you don't know, like if you don't see this anime, if you're just looking at it as a still, there's like you're just like, oh yeah, it's Mark Hamill. It's fucking Mark Hamill. It's crazy. Blue says it's complicated. You're right. Yeah, it's so complicated. That's what I like about it. I love stuff like that when it gets like complicated in that like delightful way. PE says Maz Kanata is someone from the sequel trilogy that I would like to see new Star Wars stuff explore in greater depth. That might be the only character from the sequel trilogy that I feel that way about. Yeah, Maz is pretty cool. Very cool character. Played by Lupita Nyong'o, which is cool.
Nice pull.
What's that?
Nice pull. Name pull.
So we get this flashback to, again, going back to the prequels. Book of Boba Fett goes back to prequels a lot. We see Boba Fett on Kamino, lamenting his dad going away all the time, and the ship flying away.
I loved that.
It was pretty cool. And then we have here Grogu. By the way, the effect that they use for the memory, like for him to remember, that's what Anakin saw when he was dreaming about Padme having her babies. Like he saw the same, like it was the same effect, which I thought was pretty cool.
Wow. Did you
I knew that. I caught that from watching it, but yeah, it's if you go back and watch, I wish I caught a screenshot of that, but yeah, it's the same, like kind of like it looks like you're looking through almost like someone's eye. It's a really cool effect. Yeah. I like it a lot. But here we have like the 501st Legion, I think it is, like slaughtering the Jedi. I don't think they see Grogu. I think he's hidden. I feel like he's hidden somewhere.
I don't know what is happening here that they're not. Yeah, like they. Yeah.
Right, because
Was
they
he
would have killed
behind?
him
Was
if.
he-
Right, they were like they're
Sure,
brutal.
yeah.
These people, like I feel like they would have killed him or something. So I'm curious to see what happens. This is where he blanks out. He doesn't remember anything after this, so we don't know how he got saved or how he got like out of this situation.
Yeah. And this is during the whole Jedi purge, right? This is
Yeah, this is
when
taking
and
place
then
at,
all
while Anakin is slaughtering the other younglings. This is taking
yeah.
place, which
And
is
then
terrible.
and they also took out the Wookiees during this, right?
Did they? I don't remember them mentioning the Wookiees.
I feel like in the third episode they also took out
Oh
like
yeah,
the
Chrysanthemum. Like during that episode, maybe you're right.
or no, during I know in the prequels, I feel like am I wrong in that?
Oh
That
yeah,
they-
because during this, when this is happening, Order 66, Yoda's on Kashyyyk with the Wookiees. You're right. Yeah, that's what was happening. You're right.
so they took out like a ton of Wookiees, yeah.
So Grogu blanks out, and then he comes back to, and Luke's like, "I'm gonna teach you how to defend yourself, how to protect yourself with the Force." And I think he can. I don't know what's gonna. I mean, I highly think that Grogu's gonna go back to Mando, but I kind of wish he'll take Luke up on his offer. I feel like Luke could train him to protect himself. Like Luke has just such a pure heart. You know what I mean? Like what? Like so much compassion. Like he's like a beautiful character, and I feel like it's sad. But what do you think? Grogu's going back to Mando, right? He's gonna choose the Beskar vest, right?
I feel like it would muddy up what's happening with Boba Fett, what we're watching, like going on to the main story. Yeah, I don't know because I want him. I think he'll have a hand, like him having to take on Grogu again is a distraction that if he's gonna fall into the like being on Tatooine and working for Boba Fett, like him having Grogu by his side again kind of muddies that. And like right now we're in like the narrative of like what's going on Tatooine with Boba Fett. Like I don't see them aligning right now, but unless you go back to what you're saying where it is the impetus that makes Luke show up and help liberate Tatooine.
Luke's bringing Grogu back to Mando, but then he realizes, oh shit, what's going on, and he ends up being part of Team Boba. You know, I feel like that could happen. We'll see what happens. I don't know. I mean, that's just my prediction. This was Blue's pointing out this was such a beautiful scene.
Yeah.
I love the Mando ended up choosing not. This was great. The Ahsoka Mando relationship I think is really beautiful. I think it's really cool. And he makes a good case here, and she finally I love that she's like, hey, we've been looking at him all along. I love that like reveal where he's like, well, I want to see Grogu, and he's like, yep, there he is. I brought you to him before you even asked. Like, you know, like I knew that's where this was going. And so
yeah,
it was kind of a cool scene. But she's I can't wait to see Rosario Dawson. She's getting her own show, by the way.
yeah.
There's going to be an Ahsoka Tano show, so I can't wait to see what that's going to be all about and what they're going to do with that. But this was a beautiful scene where I did not expect that. I honestly, when I was watching this episode, I thought he was going to want to see the baby.
Same.
And when he makes this choice, it was heartbreaking, but also so satisfying. Like I was just like, yes, that makes sense. It's like so good. He loves him so much that he's like, yeah, I don't want him. I don't want the kid shook up about it or anything like that.
Yeah. It's that whole the biblical, I can't remember the story, but like I'll cut I'll cut it in half and
Solomon, right? King
Solomon,
yeah.
Right on, and
yeah.
he's like, no, just take the whole
yeah, it's true. That's good analogy. Yeah, it's true. But he gives her that. And then this little scene where he's like, he sees the ship.
Yeah.
Didn't it kill you? And he sees the ship, and you can tell he's trying to use the Force to like bring the ship and everything, and it's just like so sweet. And
that's what killed me. I was fine with him making his choice, like when Mando was like, okay, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then when he was aware that he made the choice, essentially, I was like, oh,
that's heartbreaking. It's a heartbreaker. It's like so good. Oh my god. I'm getting a little verklempt here. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry, but yeah, it's like it is a special scene. It's like this puppet is ridiculous. By the way, like I have no problem suspending my disbelief in like to me that's like a little guy. Like that's like Grogu right there. You know, it's like so
Yeah.
cool. And this was a special
This
scene
was so
too.
cool.
Yeah, so
I
good.
watched
Like
this. I rewound this 3 times. The
the whole sequence, right? Like
whole sequence. I was like, "That's
so
huge." That he
cool.
strapped him to his back, like Yoda, and when he was like, because I always loved that way, like that classic scene when he's running through the swamp, and has Yoda on his back, and then to now have Grogu on his back, and I literally watched it 3 times because I was like, oh, I wish they stretched it a little more.
No, it's so yeah, I agree with you. It's so special. It's ridiculous. And then they play the music. Like he's like,
Yeah.
look at this. Like from the big picture, everything's actually in. There's like a hint of what Luke believes later on, which is like, actually, you know what? Like even without the Jedi or the Sith, the universe is in balance. Like the Force keeps things in balance. We're so vain to think that the fate of the galaxy or the universe depends on the Jedi and the Sith. Like there's so much more. The Force is so much bigger than just this binary idea. And so we get the first hint of that, which I really liked, and that was
This is when he
beautifully
denounces the
illustrated.
2-party system.
Yeah.
He becomes a little bit like Green Party here.
Funny Green Party Baby Yoda. I like it. We also get this cool moment between him and Ahsoka. And what's special about this is like, one wonders in Last of the Jedi, you get the feeling that Luke found out like his whole family history. He found out about his mom. He found out about his dad. Like he like watched the prequels basically, right? Like you know what I mean? Like, but now we see like an actual in-story reason why Ahsoka was Anakin's Padawan. She was his apprentice, and she knew Padme, and she like grew up like she lived through the Clone Wars, and like so she lived through that time. We don't have Obi-Wan, we don't have Yoda. It's comforting to me to see that Luke ended up with Ahsoka and that she's part of his life. I think this is like one of the best, coolest things that Star Trek has done. What did you think about that?
You just said Star Trek.
I said Star Wars. Sorry, I meant Star Wars.
You can take the Starfleet boy out of.
Yeah, I gotta change. I said Luke is the chosen one. That's my screen name tonight, by the way.
Sorry, right. I referred to you as Starfleet.
I am Luke is the chosen one. That's who
Luke
I am.
is the chosen. Yeah. It's so interesting, and you'd think like in their stories, you'd think that that Ahsoka would be kind of
The master.
her, yeah, like his mentor,
Right.
at this point. But it just goes to show you that, like,
Well,
I don't know,
remember,
like,
Ahsoka's technically not a Jedi. She's like a gray.
Oh,
she's like in a
yeah.
gray area, so she's just kind of like hanging out, and she really believes in him. I think it's kind of like, your dad was a dick, but I loved him. Your dad was a dick, but I loved him, and now I'm here to like. Oh, are you saying in the chat we had the
Yeah, you gotta
the
block.
spammer? Yeah, I'll block that person. There you go. But she was like, yeah, your dad was a dick, but I'm going to teach you the best parts of him. I'm going to tell you about the best parts of him so that maybe that'll inspire you to be, better. But she also sees that he is better because he did, this is the Luke that defeated the Emperor. This is the Luke that redeemed Darth Vader, basically, So, like, I think I could see why she admires him. You know what I mean? Like, she's like, you did good, kid. Like,
Yeah.
you did what none of us could do this. You did it. Like it's kind of like a I get her. I get where she's coming from.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's like, I did some pretty amazing things growing up. Like I've had a good life, like I like I've had like I've had a lot of great accomplishments, but then I meet young people who are doing like extraordinary things, and that's kind of how I feel like Ahsoka might be here. Is that where I see like, oh yeah, like the next generation's not in a bad place, although unfortunately his Jedi Temple gets destroyed or whatever. But like seeing, I think she's got a lot of hope invested in Luke,
Sure.
and I like that.
Yeah.
Here's
I like that take.
Grogu destroying that little thing, and it broke my heart that he was so exhausted after that he just fell asleep on that rock. Little guy gets so
Yeah.
tired and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, and that goes to what, season 2, when he started using the Force of Mando, and he would tuck her out.
He would tuck her out, poor little guy. But he was really great in the scene. Like he was doing all those little flips, and he was able to, like, he didn't get hit again, and he was able to destroy that thing.
This was after. Oh, by the way, wait, this is after he did his little jump, right?
Yeah, he does the little jumps. I didn't take
that was so
screenshots
cute.
of everything, but yeah, it's super cute.
The jump was so cute when he's like, "Let's see your jump," and then he did the cute little baby Grogu jump, and it was so adorable. He got like 2 inches off the ground, but he like tried his hardest. Like, I was kind of hoping. Oh, right, because that was when he was like, that was right before. Then he does throws him on his back and does that. That's when he does that. Yeah. So we're well past that. Right.
Well, anyways, we end that sequence. We go back to Tatooine, and we see Cobb Vanth and Mando, and I love the like the little moment where they're admiring his hot rod. And then, did you know about? So this is the guy who was in the Western with Timothy Olyphant, by the way, the guy in that character there.
Yeah, because he, I remember I feel like we talked about that at some point previously, because this is his second appearance, right? Second. Yeah. I didn't remember that until you brought it up, but I do remember that coming up at some point. Yeah.
By the way, chapter 6, this episode was called "From the Desert Comes a Stranger," and we're gonna get into who that stranger is.
Ooh, boy!
In just a moment, but the actor who plays this character, let me see if I can find his name. Is I think it's W. Earl Brown, if I'm not mistaken, is the name of the actor, and he was in
Justified, right?
Justified, yeah, with Timothy, or was it Deadwood? He was in Deadwood, but yeah,
it was Deadwood.
I think was it? I don't remember.
Was it? I thought it was Justified.
Might have been that. I don't know. I don't know enough about that, but yeah. Anyways, cool little thing there, but yeah, here he is, and so Mando's trying to appeal to him to get the whole Mos Pelgo, group to help out Boba Fett, and he's like, "Yo, we're square, but you know what? I'll consider it. I'll see what people think." And most people, by the way, it's no longer Mos Pelgo. It's what is it? Freetown. Freetown, which is I love that it's just called Freetown. It's like that's so idealistic. Like it's so like everyone's free to be themselves. But he's like, "Yeah, I'll bring it up to them." And then, of course, this guy.
Oh,
shows up.
Wow! Yeah.
Yeah. So you like,
jumped right ahead.
Right. This fucking guy.
I wanted the view. I was hoping you had a view of his hat down, then that.
No. Like this is Cad Bane.
Oh.
I mean, we know who Cad Bane is from the Clone Wars, and he's also in the new Bad Batch series or whatever. But I mean, this guy looks fucking crazy. like he's in this.
Yeah, I haven't watched Bad Batch yet.
Oh, really?
I watched. I think the first episode, maybe. I don't know if I remember if I finished it. I know I watched the first episode. That's on my list of like. I have so much to catch up on. I'm a bad Star Wars, Disney Star Wars person.
Oh, it's fine. You're fine. You'll catch up when you do, but. I was really impressed by the realization, because we've only seen this character animated before, Blue says Cad Bane is scary looking.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is scary looking. We've only seen this character animated before, and so I didn't know how they were going to realize him in live action.
Can we do a side by side? Is it?
Oh, let me see if I can do that. Hold on. Let me see if I can pull it up. Hold on. Cad Bane. I'll just say this version of him is it's so badass. Like, here, let me see. Cad Bane. Let's pull him up from Clone. Oh yeah, here's a good picture. Okay, let's see. Okay, copy image address. All right, and all right. So, oh no, this is an illustration. Hold on, I gotta find him from the. Okay, here we go. I found him. Okay. All right. So this is what he looks like. I think in the Clone Wars. This might be from Bad Batch, but I'm not sure. But hold on, let me pull him up. Share screen.
He looks like you.
What do you mean? No, yeah, this is.
Oh no, because you didn't put. You said here he is, and then you went side by side. So.
Yeah, it's true. So this is him from the animated series. So it's not too different. I mean, like, it looks pretty much the same, but I feel like they nailed it and made him look even somehow more sinister.
He disappeared.
Yeah, I know. I can't do it's because it's two different sources, so I have to do it. But like, look at this. This looks badass. Like, yeah. I mean, like, it's like they really.
It reminds me of something, but I can't figure out what. In this version, I can't. When I saw it, I was like, "Oh, that reminds me of."
It reminds you of nightmares you've had since you were a child. Of like, like.
I can't figure out. It's gonna come to me, but that like it's very. I don't know, but they pulled it off like really amazing.
Especially the eyes, right? The eyes are just like, the eyes are insane. And then we go back to our bar with Jennifer Beals, and I was so upset about what happened here. This like bummed me out too. Look at her. I feel bad. I think. What do you think? She survives or no?
No, and that's
no. Don't say that.
There's no way.
You really think there's no way? She sees. I feel like she suspects something's happening. I don't know. She's a survivor. I hope she survives. We'll find out. All right, so here it is. I feel like you've been waiting to talk about the choice. Everyone's talking about the choice, right? So we have Luke here, beautiful like temple. It's finally constructed and built, and like, I love that Luke is so honest. Like he's like he's like, you know what? This guy brought this thing. I'm gonna present you with a choice. But do you think there needed to be a choice, Evan? Do you think like a choice between this and the lightsaber? Like, what do you think? Like Yoda's lightsaber versus this? Could he just give them both? Like, like can he just
I was thinking about that, and I was reading a lot of comments in a lot of posts. There's people are saying the same thing, like, oh, Luke is missing the point. It doesn't have to be about this and that. But I think it's the symbolism of, are you willing to go like live so in the present that you're willing to give up attachments to the past, and like it's not the act of like actually choosing that or choosing him. It's just like he needs to make it, like Luke thinks he needs to make a choice. Like, are you still attached to these things? So he's putting it in very, because what the Grogu's.
He's basically saying
he's a teenager, he's a tween, so he's putting it in terms a tween can understand. Like, what are you going to choose right now, and what is your focus?
Yeah, he's complicated because he's a tween, but he's a 50-year-old tween. You can't help but deny that he has 50 years of experience. Like even like a character of like his, even though his species may develop slowly, it's still 50 years in the universe. Hey Dom, nice to see you. Dom says, also at least Luke is offering the choice, whereas Jedi, this is true, of old did not give people that choice. I agree with that. Yeah, that was like that is an evolution in his philosophy. Dom, I hope you were listening to the rest of our conversation, because we talked a little bit about this earlier. But yeah, it is consistent with like Luke evolving the Jedi like philosophy and stuff like that. So yeah, I agree with that. But So what do you think Grogu's gonna choose? Do you think he's gonna choose the best car or the lightsaber or neither? Or what do you think's gonna happen?
Dom says,
I only just appeared. I'm glad you only just appeared. I love Dom.
Isn't this also a Isn't this a test for what am I thinking of? There's a
Oh, you're thinking of what's it? The Japanese film. What is it called? Wolf and Cub or something like that.
where they put a bunch of objects.
Yeah, so they put a ball and a sword, and the little cub picks the sword, and so yeah, that's the whole thing about it.
Is
So
that
yeah, it's
from
like a little
this?
test. That's what this is kind of like homaging.
Okay.
Wait, what is
Yeah, I
that?
feel
What are
like
you doing with your arms?
I was stretching.
Okay, I was like, what is this? What is? Yes, it's from this. It is from this with the arms. But yeah, it could be a test, but I don't know. I don't know. Like if he does choose the armor, and Luke has to take him back because Mando's gone. So I feel like Luke has to take him back to the Mando. So Luke's gonna show up on Tatooine.
Yeah, because he doesn't know what's happening on Tatooine right
Yeah,
now, right?
Luke
So
has no
yeah,
idea
so
right now.
this
Yeah.
will open his eyes. Yeah, so yes, he's going to choose the chainmail.
I like Dom's idea that maybe Luke will give him both. I think Luke would. Oh my god, that would like super. I would. I get so excited. That would be awesome, actually. If Luke is like, yes, you chose the armor, but you know what? I'm gonna give you both because I like that idea.
You know, it would be great. You know, it'd be great if he's like, "What do you choose?" And then he goes like this, and then slowly a frog floats in, and he eats the frog, and he's like, "That's what I."
He's like, come on, Grogu, just eat these frogs. Don't be so complicated. But yeah, this is a gorgeous. I watched this episode so many times because I was in both bliss and sadness at the same time. I've rarely experienced that where I was just like so happy, like the Luke stuff, like I said, just like made me like insanely happy, and but everything else about it was like sad because we know how Luke ends up, and it's not like bad, like I like it, but also it's sad. It is sad, like you know what happens.
And kind of Yoda went through, like, essentially Yoda went through
The same thing, kind of,
the
right?
same
Yeah,
thing, right? Because he
yeah.
was the last of, and just like isolated on, yeah.
On Dagobah.
But he didn't get all cranky. He was silly.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, 900 years. When 900 years you become look as good, you will not. I think he says that.
Oh, I love that he said like that's how yeah, he like kind of was like he talked in riddles.
Oh yeah, he said that he talks in riddles. Like that was cool. I like that. Yeah, he referenced the like, you know, the size. You know, like judge me not by my size or whatever. You know,
Yeah.
like that kind of stuff. That was cool. Yeah. But yeah, overall, what did you? So yeah, we're pretty much done with our, you know, like with our episode, and I just took some
Ooh,
screenshots of like
love
the
that.
art because yeah, I love
Yeah.
this. This one's cute too, and I use this one as our screenshot. The Beskar vest is a little more it's a little different in this
It's like
like
a
illustration.
onesie.
Yeah, it's like a little onesie there, but yeah. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited. So, you know, we'll see what happens in the next episode of Book of Boba Fett. But totally didn't expect any of this from this show, but super delighted about it personally.
Yeah. Um, which would you have preferred? Would you have preferred getting 8 episodes strictly Boba centric narrative, and but also, I mean, not to say that there's no Mando, because but where just Mando shows up and you don't know what path brought him there, you just know that he shows up back on Tatooine and he's like, "Hey, I'm here to work for you. I was, you know, like I got the message. I'm here," and then he just shows up, and then everything, and then they dedicate those
last 3 episodes to all Boba, and just Mando shows up? Or do you prefer that we got a little bit of like how Mando ended up back on Tatooine and why he's there and
Yeah,
why he's able
I
to
actually,
lend his services?
actually, like I said earlier, I trust the show, and I think that this is like all very intentional, and like I'm glad they like. I think they wanted to set up this story so that when we go into Mandalorian season 3, whatever's gonna happen, this is gonna help us like to understand like the setting or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think Book of Boba Fett was always designed. I feel like it was just because of the complex nature of the show and like how much is involved in creating it and stuff like that. I think Book of Boba Fett was definitely designed to be this. Like they never. It's not like a mistake that we go off for 2 episodes and follow the Mandalorian and go back to Grogu. This was super intentional.
Yeah.
So I like to think of Book of Boba Fett as more like like a season 2.5 of the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Dom is saying I think it would have been better just to be Boba Fett centric. So that's cool. Yeah, like
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
you shouldn't need to watch Boba Fett to understand season 3 of Mando. I agree. I used to agree with that kind of thing, but like I think these days, like all of these stories are just so intertwined. Like I feel like Star Trek's kind of doing it too. It's like we're starting to see that like you kind of have to watch all these things to
Yeah.
see it. But I will say that both the Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett do this thing where they like bring in characters from like the wider story, like from the novels and stuff, in a way that you don't need to read the novels. So I don't know. I have a lot of faith in the show. I feel like they're gonna do
Yeah.
it in a way that's that I feel like they're gonna do it in a way that like even if you don't watch the Book of Boba Fett, Mando season 3 will make sense. But if you watch the Book of Boba Fett, Mando season 3 will. I mean, sorry, Mando season 3 will have a little more, enrichment that you
Yeah.
didn't get. But yeah.
I
I
would.
don't
I
know.
think.
It's a good point, Dom. Like you did, like Book of Boba Fett
Yeah.
is positioned as a separate show almost. Like it is about Boba Fett, not the Mando. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's a really good point.
I would have liked to see Mando show up, and then you're like, oh, he's back, and he's doing whatever he is. Like they got him back, and then there's always this kind of question, and then things go on, and even it's likely that you're going to see Free World or whatever, free like the people of Free World and Timothy Olyphant,
Freetown, yeah.
Freetown, they're going to show up, and you're like, so you take that with a grain of salt. Oh, all these people showed up after they said they'd get like the money can buy you whatever, and then the next episode all these people show up, Mando shows up, and there's always this looming question of how did they get there. Q Mando season 3, make it 10 episodes, and the 2 episodes that we just saw in Boba Fett, you tack those onto the first 2 episodes of season 3, we get a 10 episode season 3 of Mando, and the first 2 episodes are explaining how he
You
got to Tatooine under Boba Fett's
you
dollar
legit
or
could
whatever.
watch these 2 episodes and there wouldn't be too many crazy questions about why is Fennec Shand like if you didn't watch the Book of Boba Fett but you watched these 2 episodes and then you jumped into I don't know yet, we haven't finished yet, but I feel like if you jumped into Mandalorian season 3 with these 2 episodes, you have your 10 episode season, like what you said. Like that's it's there. Like yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I would have preferred that. I think I want Mando to just show up, and then I kind of want to spend the next little bit of until they come out with Mando season 3 wondering how he got back on Tatooine.
Blue says I'm still struggling with that too, but I can't deny I like what we get.
Phenomenal episodes, yeah.
Dom says you just shouldn't need to understand the show just to get a better enhancement in these connections. Yeah, I see what you're saying. That's a valid. I like that. One common thread with Book of Boba Fett is that all of the main characters are done with their old lives and are looking to move forward into something else. Boba Fett, Fennec, Shand, and Din Djarin. Yeah, it's true. It's a good point. And possibly Grogu too. Yeah, it's true.
And I mean, kind of the whole at the last shot when Mando shows up, or wait, what episode was that? It was this last episode when Mando shows up and Fennec is like kind of giving the.
Well, it ends with Grogu's choice, but yeah, that's the last shot with Mando when he arrives on Tatooine and he's like with
and when you look around, kind of his whole band of people with. I mean, you've got Kev. I can never say his name right. Kev Kastan. Is that?
Oh, the Chrysanthemum. You have the Chrysanthemum there. You have the Mod Squad. You have
the Mod Squad are like everybody, even beyond like them, like making like PE said, like everybody's kind of taking on a new life. Like his whole crew is. I mean, even down to the Jabba's old, pit guards or whatever. Like everybody's kind of.
Yeah, I don't know if they were with Jabba. Yeah, I guess they were with Jabba too. The Chrysanthemum. Yeah, I love the Chrysanthemum.
Everybody's kind of just
I feel like there's going to be a new life for Tatooine. We don't get much. The sequel trilogy focuses on I think Rey's on Jakku, and we get Tatooine at the very end, but we don't know the state of Tatooine. So I feel like this is going to be like it's going to enlighten us as to like what happens to Tatooine. I just feel like it should go somehow. Control of Tatooine should go to the Tuscans and also the Sand People and also the Jawas maybe. Like I feel like there's something going on with that. Yeah, the indigenous folks of Tatooine. But we'll see.
Absolutely.
We'll absolutely see. We have 2 more episodes, I think.
Oh, thank you, Dom, by the way, for
Chrysanthemum, yeah.
I can never say it right. I don't know.
The Chrysanthemum. Yeah, I love I think of chrysanthemums and then I just say chrysanthemum, but yeah. Badass character. Any other predictions for next week, or what are your hopes or anything like that before we end our stream?
I don't know. I mean, I was thinking the obvious when I finished the episode. That, I mean, maybe not the obvious, but I was like, oh, he's going to continue his training, and but it didn't dawn on me until you brought it up that there needs to be an anchor to bring, like, to tie in Tatooine. So he must choose the.
I have a big, like, I have a hope, or rather a suspicion, that Luke's going to be involved with the liberation of Tatooine. I feel like Tatooine's going to be like somehow like a big deal, and Luke's going to be involved with it. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, maybe Luke won't be involved, but Grogu's definitely coming back to the Mando, and I think that Mando season 3 is going to start off with that. We'll see. I mean, I kind of think, now that Dom brought that up, like I kind of don't want Grogu to come back, because I do want that to be a thing in season 3. But if you look at this as season 2.5 of Mandalorian rather than like a whole separate series, then maybe it does make sense. Maybe it is required.
I think they're just gonna, maybe they're gonna clear all this up so season 3 could just be about the Darksaber and Bo-Katan and all that. And
yeah, who knows? Yeah, it's very up in the air as far as where they're going. I can't predict the show. Like, this is one of those shows that like I'm like enjoying the ride, but I have a tough time predicting what's gonna happen. Like, and I know a lot. I don't know everything about Star Wars, but I know a lot. I've watched a lot of Star Wars, so I feel like I'm a lot invested in this. But yeah, I still can't. My ability to see the future in the Force has diminished. just like Yoda, we no longer have the ability to use the Force to see the future. So that's where I'm at. I'm just like Yoda. Yeah, it's like so that's how I feel about Mando and this series. Well, Evan, tell our audience what's going on in your world, how people can follow along with your adventures and what you're doing in general that you want people to know about.
So I'm working on this comedy label. I've like hinted about it in the past on Starfleet Boy After Dark streams. But we're getting close to launching, and we're gonna produce a YouTube channel that has live shows of comedy here out in LA, this should be launching soon. We're gonna be doing big things. It's with in the comedy world. It's gonna be a lot of fun. And that's and then I post on Instagram as the _talking show about like live shows that I do out here in LA. And that's all I got going on lately.
I plan to visit LA this year. I hope to see you and meet you in person. It's gonna be really exciting.
I can't believe we've never breathed the same close air.
I know, we're like biffles. Well, I'm glad we didn't, because I don't want to give you COVID if I had it, or if you had it, whatever.
True.
But like soon that'll be over. I feel like very confident. We're like, what happened?
Wait, Blue brings up a great point.
Oh yeah, we didn't talk about Peacemaker. So we've been tacking on Peacemaker at the end of these discussions. Let's save it for Kevin. He really loves Peacemaker. I want to save it for it's true. So like we'll save it.
Are we 2 episodes behind?
Yeah, we're two episodes behind.
Because we got we got episode 6 of Peacemaker and episode 6 of Book of Boba Fett, right? Like they're both weekly, like they're neck and neck.
Neck and neck, yeah. So
but I will say 2 fantastic episodes, because we're 2 behind from
on Peacemaker as well.
On Peacemaker as well, yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah, maybe we'll do a season discussion on Starfleet Boy After Dark of the Peacemaker. So maybe we'll gather you, me, and Kevin, and anyone else who wants to come on to talk about Peacemaker as like a whole discussion. But yeah, we normally do it. But I will just say, like, the last 2 episodes of Peacemaker were wild AF. I love them. They're really good. So if you guys want to see another show other than Star Wars, go check that out. But also nice discussion, guys. I love to say hi. I loved it. Say hi to Kevin of 9 for me. We shall. He comes on as the Kevanton. The Kevanton. He's the Chrysanthemum, but with Kevin. I forget how he did it.
Kevanton.
The Kevinton or Kevin or whatever. I don't know. Anyways, you can check out Starfleet Boy After Dark. We do a Friday night every week, which, Evan, by the way, if you're free, we'd love to have you back on Friday nights. It'd be nice.
I'm sorry I disappeared for so long.
Hey, life happens.
I have Friday nights off now, so
right on. So maybe
I just recently changed my schedule. So.
Oh, right on. Super cool. So yeah, I'll hit you up afterwards, and we'll get you on that rotation again, if you like. But you can check out that, and then also tomorrow Fathery and I from Text Trek are going to do I like this name, but I have to block you, Eleanor O'Connor, sorry. But Fathery and I are doing a watch along / fan commentary of Star Trek Picard. Tomorrow we're doing the episode The Impossible Box, so come check us out there.
That's tomorrow?
Yeah, it's tomorrow at 2 p.m. Oh, we're going on at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow, so that'll be I don't know.
I might join you in the chat, brother.
Oh, I would love that. That'd be cool. So yeah, check that out, and then you can always check out our Thursday night. Next Thursday, Discovery is back, and we're going to be doing a live show about that as well on Thursday night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Saturdays we do a TOS discussion, and we're also going to come back, I think, with Kevin maybe to discuss the next episode, or we might wait. We've been doing 2 at a time, so we might be on the following week with Kevin and
I think we talked about doing just each like one episode, like just I think we should do, because Kevin will finally be back. We should do the next. We should do
the next one. Yeah. So yeah,
that's my vote.
Yeah, that's so. Look out on Twitter. I'm sorry we're not like 100% like consistent with these, but they're just whatever. We're having fun. So that's the name of the game, isn't it? Anyways, may the Force be with you, everybody. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time.